Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation E VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be trying out a really fun team built by 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsubo, featuring a lot of fun and unique picks like Galarian Moltres, Milotic, Sinistcha, and Munkidori. Munkidori really stood out in particular because it is not really used at all in the Regulation E format, but it gets access to Fake Out. Sludge Bomb and Psychic actually gives you some pretty unique coverage against popular Pokemon like Ogerpon as well as Iron Hands and Rillaboom, and you're able to Parting Shot as well. More importantly, though, it gets access to Frisk, which is amazing for scouting out your opponent's items, especially in best of one play on the ladder. This team is very centered around enabling Galarian Moltres. You've got multiple ways to heal it, like Sitrus Berry on Moltres, as well as Life Dew on Pokemon like Milotic and Sinistcha, and the idea is to just get Galarian Moltres boosted through Nasty Plot and Berserk, and sweep through opposing teams. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoyed, would appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel, really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. Breaking things down, as always, rental, pace, and team creator are linked down in the description below, and question of the day, I want to know what your favorite new addition from the DLC has been with this team featuring Munkidori, Sinistcha, as well as Milotic. Now, I was immediately drawn to this team because of Munkidori. This Pokemon sees very little play in the Regulation E format, and I was curious to see how people make it work. This set in particular is super interesting because you actually use Frisk instead of Toxic Chain. Frisk is really nice because as soon as you switch in Munkidori, it reveals your opponent's items. Now, for real in-life person tournaments that are open team sheet best of 3, that's not a very valuable ability. But for the closed team sheet online ladder, which is best of 1, it's actually incredibly valuable. Leading Munkidori alone already gives you information about 2 of the 4 items that your opponent is running, and it gives you a lot of counterplay to how you want to approach turn 1 of the game, because items often can make or break how a certain Pokemon is used. So I love leading Munkidori with this team, and the combination of Psychic and Poison is actually really unique in this format. There are a fair amount of Pokemon that are just weak to those 2 types, right? You've got grass types like Rillaboom as well as Ogerpon, for example. You've got fighting types like Iron Hands as well as Urshifu, and so being able to outspeed and threaten a lot of these Pokemon for one-hit knockouts is a really big deal. Finally, Munkidori also gets access to Parting Shot, which is really nice because you've got double Parting Shot with this team. Munkidori is really important for this team, but the main carry of this team is actually Galarian Moltres. This team is almost entirely designed around enabling Moltres as much as possible. So with Munkidori, you've got Fake Out Pressure. This allows you to lead something like Munkidori plus Moltres and just go for Fake Out plus a Nasty Plot immediately. It also allows you to lead something like Munkidori plus Grimmsnarl, where you can go for Fake Out, set up one of the screens, and then set up your other screen. Normally when people try to beat Grimmsnarl with the Light Clay dual screen strategy, they will try to flinch it on turn 1 with the Fake Out from something like Iron Hands, and then just knock it out with something like Fluttermane. But with Munkidori being a fast Fake Out user that outspeeds things like Rillaboom plus Iron Hands, you'll be able to deny a lot of the typical counterplay to Grimmsnarl. So for example, you could lead Munkidori Grimmsnarl, Fake Out plus set up one of the screens, turn 2 Parting Shot into Moltres, set up another screen, then Grimmsnarl can Parting Shot into one of, say, Arcanine, Sinistcha, or Milotic, and get some utility across the board. A lot about this team is just figuring out how you can enable Moltres as much as possible, and it is quite common for it to get to +6 special attack even, definitely at least like +3, +4 special attack, for example. And with Berserk and Sitrus Berry, as well as healing from things like Life Dew on Sinistcha, and of course Hospitality and Life Dew on Milotic, it's pretty common for Moltres to heal back up, and then for Berserk to activate multiple times throughout the course of a battle as well. This Moltres is basically just max HP, max special attack, and the idea is you want to just keep boosting up your special attack and deal massive amounts of damage. So we've talked about Munkidori, we've talked about Moltres, we mentioned the Grimmsnarl here. The main thing to note about Grimmsnarl here is instead of Spirit Break, you've actually got Low Kick, which gives you some unique coverage, and you also have Fire Terra rather than something like Ghost Terra, which allows for more resistances to certain types, for example. The final 3 Pokemon on this team are Milotic. This Milotic is really interesting because it's actually max speed timid with wide lens. Now, Milotic is a unique pick because right now, Landorus and Hisuian Arcanine are everywhere, so you often will be able to get boosted up via competitive. This Milotic, of course, can actually deal meaningful damage with Icy Wind and Hydro Pump, but you've also got Hypnosis and Life Dew. I think Wide Lens is such an awesome item on this set because all of your moves other than Life Dew can miss, so you might as well at least increase your accuracy. That still makes Hypnosis, for example, pretty inconsistent, but at least you give yourself a better chance of hitting it, and it makes you feel a lot better about clicking moves like Hydro Pump and Icy Wind in particular. The idea behind this Milotic is that it provides good speed control for Moltres, and so you'll often have times where Moltres is out on the field, it's boosted up, then you'll protect, you'll go for Icy Wind with Milotic, and then you can continue to go for Icy Winds afterwards as well. And the Hydro Pump plus Icy Wind type coverage is also just really nice in terms of offense. But basically, we're in a meta right now where Intimidate is everywhere. Hisuian Arcanine, Landorus, Salamence just had some good performances at the most recent regional championships, and so Milotic not only can capitalize off competitive against all of those, but it also actually has a really good offensive matchup into those, right? Like Milotic can kind of just 1v1 Hisuian Arcanine or a Landorus, and there are also a lot of other things that can drop stats in the format outside of just Intimidators, and so competitive can activate through those as well. Finally, you've got Hisuian Arcanine. This is just a classic Assault Vest set that is designed to deal as much damage as possible, and you've got a lot of bulk to work with, and a little bit of speed investment, which helps out against opposing Hisuian Arcanines that might not be running any speed investment. The main thing to note is you've got the Fairy Terra Blast, so that's really good into something like Assault Vest Iron Hands, which otherwise can be a pretty big nuisance for Galarian Moltres. Sinistcha is the final Pokemon, and this is a Dragon Terra Rocky Helmet set with Life Dew as well. The main idea behind the Sinistcha is obviously a composition like this is really weak to, say, Water Urshifu, thanks to Surging Strikes onto Moltres, because that can crit through Reflect. But Sinistcha is amazing because it can switch into Urshifu. It completely walls Urshifu. It can threaten with damage with Machagacha for a potential KO, and you also have another means of speed control with Sinistcha through Trick Room here. So this team is almost always about enabling Moltres. It's really rare to not bring Moltres, and I think often you'll win games if you are able to boost Moltres without losing too many resources, and you'll often lose games if you just are not able to get Moltres going. The thing is, you do actually have offense from things like Arcanine, Munkidori, Sinistcha, and Milotic, but Moltres generally is just going to be your number one default option, and so much about playing with this team is asking yourself, how do I enable Moltres? The leads that I generally like going with are Munkidori plus Moltres because you have Fake Out plus Nasty Plot, Munkidori plus Grimmsnarl, so you can go Fake Out and set up your screens quickly. This is especially valuable if your opponent has opposing Fake Out, for example, so you don't feel as comfortable leading Grimmsnarl. You can just lead Grimmsnarl, Moltres, and Nasty Plot, set up a screen, Parting Shot, turn 2, go out into Sinistcha, heal out Moltres, Nasty Plot again. I think one thing to consider is you have a lot of healing with this team between Sitrus Berry, Sinistcha, and Milotic, but if you don't bring both Sinistcha and Milotic, or you drop both of them, for example, then suddenly your only means of recovery is just Sitrus Berry on Milotic, so keep that in mind. There are a lot of games where actually I really like Munkidori Grimmsnarl lead with Moltres and Arcanine in the back, but as a result, you do handicap yourself a little bit, and so I think a lot of the times I'm asking myself, okay, can I see myself actually getting Life Dew consistently off if I'm bringing it, and if I am bringing Sinistcha, there are a lot of Pokemon that hit Sinistcha for super effective damage, like your Fluttermanes, like your Tornadus, like your Heatran, for example. But generally, I always try to figure out, okay, how do I position Moltres? Should I start setting up with it early, or do I want to conserve it for the late game? And often, if I don't think it's immediately threatened by a lot of my opponent's team, I am willing to just lean into it early. But a question is basically also, do I think screen support is valuable enough to bring in the early game? And if I go Munkidori Grimmsnarl, then I'm giving up one of, say, or two of Hisuian Arcanine, Sinistcha, and Milotic, so which two of those three am I going to give up, essentially? But you should very heavily index your thinking when using this team around enabling Moltres as much as possible. So in terms of weaknesses, I think the first thing to note is that this team does rely really heavily on Galarian Moltres, so if you're able to shut down Moltres or not take too much damage while fighting against it, that can be really bad for this team. Naturally, a Moltres set like this is really weak to things that can get rid of its stat boost, so something like Haze, for example, or Clear Smog, that can be really tough. And I also think that this Moltres just does not really do that much damage unless you get multiple special attack boosts, right? So even if you're at +2, +4 special attack, you're not necessarily picking up one-hit knockouts, and Dark plus Flying is pretty good coverage, but it's not like Fiery Wrath and Air Slash are incredibly powerful attacks. So going up against something like an Assault Vest Pokemon, especially if they have, say, a Fairy Terra, can be particularly annoying. In addition, something like Iron Hands can be tough for Moltres to go up against because Fiery Wrath, even when you're boosted at +6, doesn't pick up like knockouts onto it. You're relying on Air Slash, but you'll still need multiple Air Slashes. And this team does have a lot of Iron Hands answers, right? You've got Sinistcha with Rage Powder, you've got Munkidori with Psychic, Hisuian Arcanine with Fairy Terra Blast, but just in a vacuum, for example, Moltres versus Iron Hands 1v1, it's pretty awkward for Moltres. Moltres is obviously weak to a lot of common types, like Electric from Iron Hands, like Fairy from Fluttermane, as well as other typings, so you have to be careful, and the Poison Terra is obviously really good for defensive capabilities, but if you go for Poison Terra, it does open up some brand new weaknesses, especially to, say, ground type attacks. I think the games where I've lost with Moltres is where I've boosted it, but I just don't pick up knockouts quickly enough, and my opponent just overwhelms me with offense. So that's basically doing a ton of damage while I set up Nasty Plot so that the next turn I just get KO'd. Or my opponent manages their speed control really well and say conserves their faster Pokemon for the end game where, okay, we've traded resources, but then they just bring out Pokemon that outspeed Moltres and are able to just knock me out. Moltres, for example, also struggles against Focus Sash users where maybe we're boosted up and we do all this damage, but we're not able to get a knockout, and those Focus Sash users can retaliate back for a KO. So those are a bunch of different things that I've run into while using this Pokemon in particular. I think one other thing to note is that the rest of the team, you do have good offense, but it has to be against the right Pokemon. Hisuian Arcanine is going to be kind of your most consistent attacker. Otherwise, like Munkidori, Sinistcha, Milotic can be amazing into the right Pokemon, but absolutely terrible into other types. Munkidori in particular, for example, right? Steel-type Pokemon, absolute nightmare to go up against because they're immune to Sludge Bomb and Psychic doesn't do much damage either. So steel types that are positioned well against Munkidori can capitalize out the fact that you only really have one option, which is Departing Shot out, and then they can punish whatever switch in really heavily. Sinistcha, for example, a lot of different offensive types that threaten this, and Matcha Gotcha really good against certain things, but something like Heatran, for example, can cause Sinistcha and Munkidori a ton of trouble. And so that's one thing to think about. And then the last thing I want to call out is that you don't have Protect on anything other than Moltres. And so sometimes you can be caught in awkward spots where it's like, okay, I basically can't protect this slot. I have to switch out or stay in. But as a result, my opponent gets guaranteed damage into that slot. And so if you're playing against this team, knowing that there's no Protect on anything other than Moltres is something that I think you really can heavily take advantage of. And also with Grimmsnarl prioritizing setting up screens, it's hard to deny the screens, but if you actually have Brick Break, that is a complete nightmare for a team like this to go up again. So that can also help out a lot. But those are just a couple of things. All right, we've got Iron Hand, Sinistcha, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Ting Lu, which I haven't seen in a while, Dusclops, and the Chien-Pao. So they're very much a Trick Room team. If you want to set up Trick Room, a lot of combinations, Iron Hand, Dusclops being the main one, but you could go Iron Hand, Sinistcha. You could even just go Dusclops, Ursaluna immediately. Normally with these Ursalunas, you're going to run either Weakness Policy, and then Dusclops goes for Brick Break to activate the policy, or Silk Scarf or Life Orb. Munkidori would allow me to get a Fake Out onto the Iron Hands. One of my questions is, are you Haze on Dusclops? Because I'm personally intrigued by just going with Munkidori, Galarian Moltres, Sinistcha as a switch-in. And then, I don't know, like, it's tempting to set up screens in this game. I'm just wondering if it takes too long. Like, I feel like I need to get the ball rolling with Galarian Moltres sooner than later. So I like these three plus Milotic as the fourth. I think Milotic's a big deal because if we hit a Hypnosis, it really shuts my opponent down. I even thought about leading Milotic because what we could do is keep clicking Hypnosis. Like, I could have led Munkidori Milotic, actually, and go Fake Out Iron Hands Hypnosis turn 1, but the thing is, even if I hit it, Dusclops burns a turn to sleep immediately, so it's like they can just wake up immediately the next turn. But it's going to be Hands and Dusclops, yep. So, the theory behind this lead, for me, is I can just Fake Out Iron Hands and Nasty Plot on turn 1. It's weird to play a format where Frisk is so relevant here. But yeah, I'm going to just click Fake Out and Nasty Plot. The big question to me is, what is the Dusclops' moveset? You normally can run combination of things like Trick Room, Nightshade, Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Brick Break if you're trying to Brick Break to activate the Ursaluna. Trim and get set up. A lot of different plays we can make here. I personally don't hate just going for Psychic onto Iron Hands and then Protect this turn. Okay, no switch from them. Could be a Volt switch from Hands though, I suppose. Cool. And just Will-O-Wisp. Will-O-Wisp is fine. Munkidori is a special attacker anyway. And Wild Charge. Okay, perfect. I don't mind that turn at all. We get a lot of free damage off here with Psychic. Okay. It's amazing damage, honestly. I think here I would like to Terra the Galarian Moltres. I think actually Parting Shot into Iron Hands, Terra, and Nasty Plot feels really strong. Yeah, I like that a lot. Basically, the idea here is you're not going to do that much damage to me with your Iron Hands. Going for Terra here just covers for something like Nightshade plus Wild Charge, double up onto that slot. Parting Shot means Iron Hands isn't doing much damage next turn. And then at +4 special attack, Fiery Wrath is just doing so much damage. Cool, they just go for Brick Break. So it confirms they have Brick Break, which is good to know. Which also is actually incentive to not have brought out the Grimmsnarl into this matchup. But yeah, this works out perfectly. So basically, you take recoil damage, you activate Berserk. I'm going to be at +5 special attack now after this turn, which is obviously incredible. Munkidori gets the Parting Shot into Iron Hand, so I can bring out the Sinistcha and then heal back the Galarian Moltres. Then the next turn, I can just go for Rage Powder plus Fiery Wrath, and I think that'll be a double knockout. And then I can just go Protect, switch back out into Munkidori to stall out Trick Room. So this has actually played out basically perfectly so far, I would say. And yeah, if I had prioritized bringing Grimmsnarl into this game, it's so awkward because Grimmsnarl basically feels useless until I actually knock out the Dusclops. So now I get Sinistcha in, and I can just go for Rage Powder with it. So it's really, interesting to play a team that's so centered around just setting up one Pokemon, but Munkidori was so good for us just to enable this as much as possible. So yeah, like I said, I'm happy to just click Rage Powder this turn now, and then Fiery Wrath. I think Moltres is just fully enabled at this point. And part of it is my opponent not switching out the Iron Hand sooner. This is one thing that you can do, right? Like, Dusclops is an annoying Pokemon, but it's not exerting that much offensive pressure. So in this scenario, I'm just going to take advantage of that, knowing that you can't actually deal that much damage to me. And they just go for Brick Break again. So it's like Dusclops probably should have been switching out here a little bit sooner, right? I think like last turn they had the opportunity to Brick Break. They Volt Switch, but this is so awkward, right? Like, what are you going to switch into that can take a +5 Fiery Wrath from Galarian Moltres right now? I'm not sure there's really anything that can take it super well. That looks like Ursaluna, which is fine by me, right? Like, you didn't even get your Brick Break off into that slot. So Weakness Policy doesn't activate. Ursaluna does hang on with like 1 HP here, but that's totally okay. It's the last turn of Trick Room. My opponent basically hasn't done actual damage, and now I can just protect the Galarian Moltres this next turn. And they have Sinistcha as their last one. Perfect. I think in this position, is there anything crazy that can happen here? Like, what if this were Grass Terra and then they knocked out the Moltres? Right? Like, I'm thinking it's fine to just click Matcha Gotcha this turn and then protect with Galarian Moltres. It's the last turn of Trick Room, so why get fancy? They're going to go for a Terra here. Yep, it's going to be the Ursaluna. And it's just normal Terra, that's fine. At this point, the Galarian Moltres just wins us the game, right? After this turn, it just outspeeds my opponent's team. So, this is perfect. Nicely done. They do go for the Blood Moon here onto Sinistcha, but I don't really mind that because I'm so far ahead in this game. So, that actually surprisingly doesn't even get the KO. Wow. Matcha Gotcha here is going to miss on the Blood Moon, but that's fine. Connects on Sinistcha for a little bit of chip. We heal back, what, like 5 HP? Actually more, 12. And they have Life Dew. It's funny that we're both using Life Dew Sinistcha here, but I don't really mind because we saw how much that Fiery Wrath did earlier, right? It was almost a one-hit knockout. So that's why I'm willing to play it safe here. I think now I'm happy to just pivot back out into Munkidori and then go for Fiery Wrath. Yeah, what this allows me to do is even if they, and okay, they actually just switch out, which makes sense, but this is why I like switching to Munkidori, because now I just win the game with Fake Out into Iron Hands plus Fiery Wrath next turn. Fiery Wrath might actually just get the KO here. I'm actually not sure that it does because it's Assault Vest +5, but we're +5, but Assault Vest Iron Hands just resists this, obviously, quite nicely. But the theory behind switching in here is so that I can just go for my own Fake Out, right, if Iron Hand survives. Yep, so they protect, but now this next turn, if Hand survives, we just Fake Out Fiery Wrath, and that's game over. Cool. So it's just amazing how much damage this Galarian Moltres can do, and you know, once again, one of the upsides of Munkidori is having this faster fake out. And I think essentially my opponent wasted 2 turns with Dusclops out on the field, and those 2 turns maybe they could have pivoted out, but I wanted to play this game in a way where it's like, okay, if I set up with this early on, they're really going to struggle. So like I said, now I just click fake out onto Iron Hands and Fiery Wrath. And yeah, my opponent recognizes there's not much they can do. So in that position, Galarian Moltres was just going to be able to pick up every knockout, and the only way my opponent could have got around it was to try to pivot in that Iron Hand so you can fake out the Moltres slot and then double up onto it maybe for a knockout, but even then, I think Moltres was just too enabled in this game. So that's the thing against these really hard Trick Room setups. You recognize that your opponent has to commit a lot of resources just in setting up that Trick Room, and Galarian Moltres was just so nice to be able to boost up freely. And the main thing about in this matchup is, like, when you're using hard Trick Room, you normally have to make the decision, do I stay in or do I switch out? But Galarian Moltres is so hard to fight against because at that +2 benchmark, like, Fiery Wrath is just doing so much damage, right? If you stay in, okay, yeah, Iron Hands just takes some damage, and if you switch out, then whatever switching in takes so much damage from the +2 Fiery Wrath. So I wanted to play this game in a way where my opponent never felt safe to switch in, and as a result, we were able to fully stall out Trick Room basically without taking any damage, which was basically perfect for us. All right, we've got Tornadus, Iron Hands, Rillaboom, Fire Ogerpon, Urshifu, and Sinistcha. Feels like an amazing game for Munkidori. Sludge Bomb pressure into Rillaboom, Sinistcha, and Ogerpon. Psychic pressure into Urshifu. So I'm going to lead Munkidori. I don't think I want Grim here. I'm thinking Munkidori and just Galarian Moltres with Sinistcha and Hisuian Arcanine. I think Milotic feels bad here given the triple grass type in Ogerpon, Rillaboom, and Sinistcha. They have Iron Hands as well and potential Taunt from Tornadus. And Grim is okay, but I think my problem with bringing Grim here is that I feel like I need Sinistcha, right? Because otherwise the Water Urshifu just clears me. It also could be Dark Urshifu, so we'll see. But being able to crit through is really bad. And I think it makes my team a little bit too reliant solely on Galarian Moltres. So they're going to be Urshifu and Hands. Being able to scout out for Scarf here is great. No Scarf, and it's just AV Mystic Water. Okay. AV Mystic Water. So the first question is, where do we think Surging Strikes is going here? Because I do have the switch into Arcanine. Or sorry, not Arcanine. Sinistcha. I think it's probably fine to just take the free fake out here, though. Turn 1 and Nasty Plot. Like, we probably trade fake outs, right? But that's okay. Because then I can just Psychic into that slot next turn. Oh, this also works. Okay, so they let me get the Nasty Plot off. That probably implies Wild Charge, though, right? Onto Moltres? Yeah. Which does a ton, but it does not actually get the KO. So it activates Berserk as well. Ah, this turn is really interesting. You could Water Terra here, for example. Oh, as much as it pains me, I might actually have to switch out into Sinistcha here. Because I can Psychic this, obviously. So I would expect Water Terra and then maybe Aqua Jet into this slot. Or just Surging Strikes. Alternatively, I could see this protecting as this tries to KO Galarian Moltres. Okay, I'm actually going to go for Protect Parting Shot here. Moltres protects. They didn't Terra. Oh my gosh, I could have just gone Psychic. Wow. Okay, the lack of Terra on Urshifu there is actually shocking to me. I thought you Terra or Protect there for sure, but the fact they didn't do either is a little surprising. But I can go on into Sinistcha now. If they ended up clicking Surging Strikes into Sinistcha and Wild Charge into Moltres, we might even survive Surging Strikes here anyway, honestly. Oh, okay. Looks like the answer is no. Alright, that's kind of a frustrating turn one, all things considered, because I felt like I had a really good lead position, especially with Munkidori pressuring Psychic, so the fact that they just didn't respect Munkidori's damage pains me a little there. Because I could have just gone Psychic to KO that, Air Slash to KO the Iron Hands, but I think it's still actually okay. So with this, I'll go back out into Munkidori. Okay. I think Urshifu protects or switches out right now. So I'm going to go for Matcha Gotcha here. And Sludge Bomb onto the... Like, I think I need to rely on Munkidori's offense to win this game. But it's like... You don't have Rocky Helmet, right? So it's like, I think Urshifu is just in a weird spot. Okay, I think I would rather try to... I just would love to, like, catch something on a switch-in right now. I'm going to Sludge Bomb Matcha Gotcha Urshifu. Nice. Okay, we get the switch right there. What are they bringing out? Nice. Rillaboom. Okay. That also increases the damage of Matcha Gotcha. Like, it's pretty rare for you to be able to win this game after losing Galarian Moltres the way I did, but I actually think that Munkidori is so good in this matchup that we can win with just Munkidori. I should say Munkidori with Sinistcha support. Okay, so we get Sludge Bomb into that slot. It's just a one-hit knockout. Wait, like, I think Munkidori legitimately can 1v4 this. Because it's got super effective damage onto everything on my opponent's field. So we heal. And I've got the Dragon Terra with Sinistcha. So right now, if you're my opponent, you obviously... I think you would bring out Iron Hands. Yeah. To which then you can fake out into this. I think my main question right now is who I want to Terra, basically. But I think Dragon Terra here and just Matcha Gotcha while pivoting out into Hisuian Arcanine here is fine. Yeah, it's funny. I don't actually think I had a practice game where Galarian Moltres just fainted, but this is like pretty much the perfect matchup for the Munkidori because we actually have so much offense and my opponent doesn't really have any defense against it. So they're going to Terra here. I would expect it to be Ogerpon, but let's see. Yep, cool. So that's fine, right? Like, you get the attack boost, but I intimidated you, and I'm going for Dragon Terra here, so I'll survive the attacks pretty well. And now... I'm mainly curious, like, Matcha Gotcha here, I'm hoping that then Flare Blitz can just finish off the Iron Hands. And this is one of the reasons why Dragon Terra is so good right now. It helps you so much against the Ogerpon forms, and Dragon is also valuable into Urshifu. So they go for Fake Out as expected. Perfect. That conserves our Focus Sash, and it's just Ivy Cudgel here. Yep. Cool. And it is going to target Sinistcha, and you see there we just don't take very much damage. Perfect. So Sinistcha gets the Matcha Gotcha off. Beautiful. We heal back a little bit. Yeah, like, them bringing out Rillaboom and setting up that grassy terrain is so essential for me. And Sludge Bomb getting that one-hit knockout was also so nice. So one heals back. I think my main question is whether or not Flare Blitz and Matcha Gotcha get the KO here. I feel like it probably doesn't. But I'm happy to continue clicking Matcha Gotcha. I'm just debating about clicking Rock Slide here to deal damage into Ogerpon instead, because I don't think Iron Hands is really that much of a problem, especially with the Psychic to finish it off from Munkidori in the back. Okay, I'm down for Rock Slide here. Whoa, they pivot Hands out. I feel like this just loses them the game, no? Because you feint to Rock Slide Matcha Gotcha? Oh, but does Stomping just KO us here? Okay, I probably should have gone for Rage Powder there. It's still fine, though, I think. Because Machagachi is Grassy Terrain boosted. Yeah, that KOs the Urshifu. And so now you are at -1 attack with Ogerpon. You bring out Iron Hands, but what I can do is just go for Fake Out. Fake Out plus Rage Powder is actually a really interesting play. And the reason for that is so that Iron Hands takes Rocky Helmet damage. If I were my opponent, like, I would Fake Out into the Munkidori right now. Assault Vest. Yeah. Mask, obviously. Yeah, so Rage Powder here. Does it actually make sense to Rage Powder? Like, I think maybe it's better to just click Machagacha here. Fake Out into Ogerpon. So we get Fake Out off. You flinch. They didn't click Fake Out with Iron Hand, so I get Machagacha here. Good damage. And they Drain Punch. Okay, that's fine. So you heal back. But you also take Rocky Helmet, and then there's Grassy Terrain, but I think now what I do is just Rage Powder and then Psychic into Iron Hands to finish that off. I cannot express how good Munkidori was offensively in this matchup. Rage Powder, Psychic. Even though we went completely off script, right? Having to lose Galarian Moltres the way I did in the beginning of the game. Like, I was expecting to just kind of trade Fake Outs, and I think turn 2 put me into a tough spot. So I got very little value out of Galarian Moltres. I feel like for the lead that I had, I should have been in much better shape. Especially with Sinistcha in the back. Like, I don't know. Maybe I could have even considered switching in Sinistcha immediately on turn 1. Just to have support. But, yep. We Rage Powder. They Stomping Tantrum. That does a lot of damage, but it's not enough to get the knockout. And Munkidori will get the Psychic off into the Iron Hand slot, which gets the knockout as well. So, Munkidori has gotten a knockout onto Rillaboom as well as Iron Hands and will deliver the finishing blow into Ogerpon as well. I think the two main turns I can criticize in this battle were when I gave up Galarian Moltres on turn 2. It makes sense why they didn't go for Terra, though, right? With the Urshifu, because they knew they had Fire Ogerpon in the back. But yeah, like, I could have just gone for Psychic Air Slash that turn. I would have gotten so much damage off there. And if they ended up not targeting, for example, the Galarian Moltres and double up into that slot, Psychic just KOs Urshifu. Air Slash does a ton into Iron Hands as well. But fortunately, this was one of the rare games where we actually had enough offense, thanks to Munkidori, the Sinistcha, and Hisuian and Arcanine. But generally, I would not recommend losing Galarian Moltres the way I did in this battle. But I'm really glad to have had this game because it showcases the offensive potential of Munkidori, right? It actually put in so much work, was able to get a one-hit knockout onto Rillaboom, which was absolutely amazing. And yeah, I figured, like, I have to bring it in this matchup because it just exerts so much offensive pressure. And boy, did it carry that pressure to a victory. Alright, we've got a Alolan Ninetales Baxcalibur here. So a little screen setup from their end as well. Ooh, this will be an interesting one. Poison Terror on Moltres is a little bit awkward because it opens up weaknesses to Psychic from Cresselia, ground type attacks from Baxcalibur like Earthquake, Ursaluna ground type attacks like Earth Power, Heatran, Earth Power. I mean, in an ideal world, like, we'd use Munkidori. I mean, how do I feel about just Munkidori plus Moltres here? Moltres is a really bad matchup into Ninetales is my problem. I honestly want to bring Milotic here. I want to bring everything. This is tricky. Do we just both set up screens and go from there? It feels crazy to not bring Hisuian Arcanine into this one, but I brought Sinistcha because I think basically I'm going all in on Galarian Moltres in this game. And, like, I need Sinistcha for the healing capabilities. But I think Hisuian Arcanine and Milotic are both really good in this matchup as well. Milotic because of its matchup into the Ursaluna, as well as its ability to put things to sleep. So, yeah, I don't know if I love this from my end, but they're going to go with Iron Hands and Cresselia. Okay. Frisk Mentor and Assault Vest. Cool. I'm very happy to just click Fake Out turn 1 and set up Reflect, I think. Light Screen turn 2. Psychic into Iron Hands. And then go from there. Yep, so they flinch, trying to Fake Out. Get Reflect up. I mean, Trick Room probably goes up here. I don't think it's really the end of the world, though. Like I said, I think to me, this is a matchup all about enabling Galarian Moltres. So, is it even worth clicking Psychic here? The reason I'm thinking about that is because I think Parting Shot might just actually be better. Because it's like, they can just Lunar Blessing the Psychic damage, right? Yeah, like, I think this turn I can Parting Shot Light Screen, and then go into Galarian Moltres, Parting Shot Iron Hands, Nasty Plot, and then start from there. With Sinistcha, like, Sinistcha I think was actually really critical in this battle to bring, so I'm happy I brought it. They actually up for Heavy Slam. Okay, cool. Maybe Moonblast double up? Oh, I'm very happy to see that. Like, Grim doesn't really do much, and as a result, I actually conserve Focus Sash on Munkidori. Nice. Okay, sweet. If you're Moonblast Crest, I think the odds of you running Psychic then are slimmer. The question is whether or not I want to commit my Poison Terra right here, right now, because if I do, it does open up new weaknesses to Earth Power from, like, Heatran in the back, for example. And, more importantly, Blood Moon. So I think here I'm actually happy to just Nasty Plot and Parting Shot into Iron Hands. Like, yes, you can maybe Moonblast Wild Charge into Moltres, but we'll survive that. And then I'll be able to bring out Munkidori, Fake Out, like, Nasty Plot again, and then bring out Sinistcha, Protect, and then Life Dew. That's one possible, like, 3-turn sequence. I don't know. Maybe it is better to just Terra here, though, because I do open myself to getting crit this turn. But they pivot out, which makes me happy to see. Into Ninetales? Okay, excellent. I am A-okay with that. Double switch. Not what I expected, but fully fine with me. It's a free Nasty Plot. And that is going to be Blood Moon. Okay, makes sense. So I get Parting Shot off here. It's a free switch in either into Munkidori or Sinistcha. I think Munkidori is probably the play here. Yeah. Ooh. I cannot tell you how good Frisk is in this position. Seeing both Light Clay and Choice Specs. Okay. And that's why I didn't want to Poison Terra either, because if I Poison Terra, you can just Specs Earth Power this slot, which would be really rough. But knowing that your Specs is a huge deal, because it means that you do not have any way to stop me from going for Fiery Rat this turn, as well as Fake Out. I don't really care about Ninetales' offense. It's Light Clay. We've set up Light Screen, and it's at -1 special attack. So the only thing that it really threatens is a freeze right now. But Fake Out Fiery Rat should do basically over 50% to the Blood Moon. And knowing... This is a great play by them. Like, they know, like, I know their specs. They're like, I don't want to take a free Fake Out plus Fiery Rat. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic play. Very nicely done. I could have made the read there, but I don't think it's worth it. Like, I'll just take the free damage I get from Fiery Wrath this turn. And they set up Aurora Veil. Alright, now the game gets really interesting, I think. So you have Fake Out pressure this turn. Still don't necessarily want a Terra. Yeah, I'm worried about getting one shot by Blood Moon, essentially. Like, I definitely want to click Nasty Plot here. It might actually be time to Terra here, though, if I have to be honest. Like, Nasty Plot this turn. And then Psychic into Iron Hands. And the reason why I'm willing to commit the Terra right now is because both of my opponent's Pokemon do pressure me with super effective attacks. Getting crit would be an absolute nightmare here. I wouldn't be surprised if they just click Fake Out onto Moltres, but I think it's really important to just be safe right now because Moltres is actually in a phenomenal position. And they just Wild Charge. Okay, perfect. Yep, so we don't take that much as you see. We get Plot again. Dazzling Gleam. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what you want to see here. We get Psychic off. Even with the Salt Vest and Aurora Veil, it still does really meaningful damage. So, really big turn for us there. Because it's a free third Nasty Plot right now. Yeah, there's nothing denying us that. I guess the thing is Psychic might not KO Iron Hand, so I might want to go for just Fiery Wrath plus Psychic to secure the knockout onto hands. Ninetales is also in a pretty compromising spot. If you're Dazzling Gleaming there, do you not even have Blizzard? Or maybe they just wanted the super effective damage to knock out there. I could also Sludge Bomb into this slot. I don't hate that. Nasty Plot here. Sludge Bomb here. Okay. Ooh, they do survive with the Sliver. Okay. I mean, it's fine. Like, yeah, they do no damage. But I think the chance of freeze is what was quite scary this last turn. Freeze or crit, basically, is what can mess us up right now. But they just Heavy Slam. Perfect. I'm at +6 now. I have Sinistcha as a switch in for healing, but they would be able to Blizzard, which is a little bit annoying. So I don't think we need to switch it in here. I think I'm fine clicking Fiery Wrath and just Psychic. Yeah, I'm fine clicking Psychic here. Like, I thought about Sludge Bombing, but I think Psychic plus Fiery Wrath covers for anything I could switch in there. So, Munkidori, gonna get the Psychic off. Almost gets the knockout, but Fiery Wrath will finish both off here. They actually opt for Icy Wind here. Okay, so gives them some speed control, but I don't think that's really that important. And this activates Citrus Berry as well, which is great. And what's huge here is, like, I know that you have the choice specs on Blood Moon, right? So you can't protect this next turn. Oh, the Icy Wind is a nice play, though, because it actually allows them to KO Munkidori. That's pretty cool. But I'm not sure that helps them, because it just grants me a free switch in now. Unless your Blood Moon is, like, super duper fast, and it outspeeds my Moltres after just one speed drop. How much speed would you even need to run for that? Is that even possible? Like, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a free switch into... Oh, this is actually really interesting. Like, do I go into Grimmsnarl instead? Okay, I'm down for Grim. Like, we have low kick with this. You have to Terra Cresselia, I think, to survive the turn. Yeah, so, like, I think here I can Fiery Wrath and low kick. So what are the things to consider here? Like, we know their choice specs, which is why I'm willing to make this play. I don't know. Maybe it was just to switch into Sinistcha and just Rage Powder her instead. Because they, like, I don't know. What if they ally switch here? Like, Terra Crest ally switch would probably be the scariest scenario. Okay, so they're going all in on the Blood Moon here, but I've got the low kick. Yep. Yeah, we're just faster. Okay, good. That is Galarian Moltres, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Yeah, I figured like having low kick there would catch my opponent off guard as well, and I think what they were hoping for is, okay, Blood Moon is just bulky enough where I can take the Fiery Wrath, but I knew that having this tech of low kick could really catch my opponent off guard and wanted to leverage that, so the low kick surprise really comes in handy here. And ultimately, this was just a matchup where Galarian Moltres was able to set up. Baxcalibur was one of the Pokemon I was actually more worried about because I didn't think Moltres had the best matchup into it, so I'm happy that neither Baxcalibur nor Heatran actually made an appearance here ultimately, but yeah, I think in this matchup, we were able to get boosted up. Munkidori applied good pressure, right? It was able to slowly chip away with Psychic and Sludge Bomb. It was able to scout out for items as well. And being able to scout out for that Choice Specs alone on the Ursaluna was such a big deal because it meant that I knew they couldn't protect, which was huge, right? So, like, they got it out, but we were able to basically stall out Trick Room relatively effectively in this matchup, which made things a lot easier for us. So, honestly, like, Frisk is such an incredible ability when you're playing on ladder, and you can use that information to make educated guesses about how strong your opponent's Pokemon are, whether or not they have Protect. For example, I deduced Alolan Ninetales probably going to be on the weaker end here because it's Light Clay, for example, so you normally invest a little bit more in bulk, and indeed, Ninetales just was not doing very much damage to us, so we didn't need to feel threatened by it, but yeah. There's an Empoleon here with Water Ogerpon, Arcanine, Dragonite, Iron Hands, and Galarian Moltres. So, interesting to go up against another Galarian Moltres. Munkidori here does have to worry about the Steel typing of Empoleon. I think I don't hate the Munkidori Grim combo here with Galarian Moltres. And the question is what I want as the final Pokemon. I think Hisuian Arcanine seems amazing because of its matchup into their Galarian Moltres. I think Milotic just doesn't feel great when they have potential competitive on Arcanine. Sorry, competitive on Empoleon as well as Iron Hands and a Water Ogerpon. I do have to be careful about clicking Icy Wind with my Milotic because it could activate competitive on their Empoleon. So that's one thing to be careful about. I think Sinistcha here is interesting, but it has to worry about a lot of different things. Flare Blitz from Arcanine, Flying type attacks from Dragonite like Aerial Ace, Ice Beam from Empoleon, and Matcha Gotcha is not terrible, but I think they just have too many things that Sinistcha doesn't love going up against, especially Galarian Moltres, because if they're a nasty plot set, they can just set up in front of us, right? So we don't want that happening. But I think generally the goal here is with this lead, we basically get guaranteed screens up, which is already really good. And their team looks pretty bulky as well. I don't think they'll be able to threaten with like immediate knockouts unless it's something crazy like Belly Drum Iron Hands, for example. Oh, Milotic lead here, I feel like just would have won us the game though. Oh my goodness. They go with Hisuian Arcanine and Dragonite. Goggles. Loaded dice. What? Well, that's fascinating. I think I'm down to just click Fake Out onto Arcanine right now and then set up Reflect. Definitely not the items I was expecting. I think with Dragonite these days, the standard is either Assault Vest or Choice Band. Often paired with Champa, obviously. With Hisuian Arcanine, the most dominant sets have been things like Choice Band as well as Assault Vest and Sitrus Berry. So once again, that's why I think Munkidori for ladder best of one is actually such an effective lead, because getting your opponent's items with the lead combo can give you so much information to work with. So I'm clicking Fake Out onto Arcanine here just because Dragonite, of course, can have Inner Focus, and it would feel really bad to click Fake Out onto that slot. But what is going to be the move? Okay, it's just Iron Head here. That's fine. Given that, I've got Hisuian Arcanine in the back. Neither of these are really too threatening, but I think it's fine to set up a light screen. Like, I'm personally down to just go for Sludge Bomb onto Arcanine and light screen. Cool. Yeah, I mean, like, if you get both screens set up like this without losing too much, I think it generally puts you in really good shape. So, look how much damage Sludge Bomb does there, by the way. Ooh, that's cool. How on the Arcanine? Okay. With that, then I think Ironhead actually gets the knockout. Ah, but they opt for Stomping Tantrum here. Okay. Extreme Speed is definitely on the table now from the Arcanine. It's pretty scary because I do want to pivot in. I think here I'm happy to... Like, if I were my opponent, I would consider E-Speed and Stomping here. I want to pivot in Arcanine, but I think we gotta, like, just wait for the free switch in. Do they have Extreme Speed is the question. I'd be shocked if they didn't. But I think I'm willing to just sacrifice it. Like, I'm happy to just Sludge Bomb here and Parting Shot, because then I just get my Galarian Moltres in for free. So, yep, they have Extreme Speed, but I think Munkidori did more than it needed to, which was allow me to safely set up screens and deal some chip damage onto Hisuian Arcanine as well. So they're probably clicking Iron Head, and I think it's fine to just go into Galarian Moltres and then pivot in the Grimmsnarl again, so then I Parting Shot again into Hisuian Arcanine. Alternatively, I could just go straight out into Hisuian Arcanine and click Rock Slide. I don't think that's a terrible option either. But I think I probably want to hold my Terra for Galarian Moltres. Yep, so there's Iron Head. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, so the question is, do I want to just go straight out into Arcanine here? Because I could go into Grim and then Parting Shot Dragonite to go into Arcanine, but I'm fine to just going into Arcanine here because I think the Rock Slide damage is pretty meaningful. Okay, are you Inner Focus? You are, okay. Makes sense, it's pretty standard, but it's just good to confirm that. So you're at neutral right now. I think I want a Nasty Plot here. Do I need a Terra? This is my question. I do mainly against Iron Hands, that's basically it. So I think here I'm actually happy to Terra Fairy and go for... Maybe I just go for the double knockout right now. I'm not sure if Fiery Wrath KOs Arcanine though. So I'm leaning towards Terra, Rock Slide, and then Nasty Plot here. I think one thing to consider is because I didn't bring Milotic or Sinistcha in this matchup, I won't be able to heal up the Galarian Moltres by committing to this core. So that's something to think about. Like, the only healing I have is essentially the Sitrus Berry. Okay, they go for another Howl, which makes a lot of sense. But Arcanine will faint after this turn. And they go for Stomping. Yeah, that's fine. Like, +1, not that scary when I have Reflect up, right? And that does so much damage on the Dragonite. Wow. I wonder if they just have no bulk then. We get Nasty Plot off, which is great. I think, you know, if they go into Iron Hands, for example, I can Terra Blast with the Hisuian Arcanine, which is really important. I think if they don't have Iron Hands, this game is already really difficult for them. If you do have Hands, I think I probably want to protect Galarian Moltres, pivot Arcanine out into Grim. It indeed is Hands coming out. So yeah, go into Grim right now and protect. Then what I can do is Parting Shot into Iron Hands, Fiery Wrath. It was a nice lead by them. I think, like, Munkidori punishes Iron Hands leads really heavily because we can just Psychic for a ton of damage. And it's one of the reasons why this team has Munkidori as well as Galarian Moltres as well as Sinistcha, because you want multiple Iron Hands answers, because Assault Vest Iron Hands obviously matches up pretty well into Galarian Moltres. Oh, interesting. They're going to go for a Terra here. Okay. Iron Hands Terra? No, Dragonite Terra. Whoa. Into normal? Yeah, Steel. Okay. Steel to take Rock Slide better. Which makes sense, but now it means I can Terra you. But if this is an Iron Head into Grim, this actually ends up being a really nice turn for them. And it probably is, right? Fake out Galarian Moltres and just Iron Head into Grim? Wait, that's a huge turn for them. Because I don't get Intimidate off, and you're faster than me. Whoa. Okay, I didn't anticipate Steel Terra. I think Steel Terra actually legitimately just wins them the game here. Unless Arcanine somehow doesn't faint to it. Yeah, that is such a big deal. I mean, you're at +1. I'm pretty sure you just KO me with Iron Head here. Because the expectation is without Steel Terra, you don't get the KOs through Reflect. But with Steel Terra, it's actually enough to get these knockouts. That's wild. I'm going to Terra Blast Fiery Wrath in case Arcanine actually survives, but I don't think it does. Yeah. Wow, I didn't realize just how strong, like, the Steel Terra... I think it may have been the right move then to have actually got out in a Grimmsnarl on Parting Shot just to drop Dragonite's attack further. I think it was just tempting to deal, like, a lot of damage in the position that I was at, but now I don't have enough damage to beat the Iron Hands. Like, I spent so much time trying to set up Galarian Moltres, but Dragonite outspeeding is a really big problem for us here. So, it's the Steel Terra combo that I didn't anticipate specifically here. I'm going to Wild Charge, we survive, but I can't win a 2v1 unless... I mean, what could they even have in the back here that would give me a shot? Like, I would need flinches from Fiery Wrath right now. Yeah, I really did not expect Dragonite to put in so much work here, but having the Iron Head Steel Terra combination specifically is perfect for them. And, like, if we had knocked out Dragonite sooner, the Hisuian Arcanine on my side just has such a good matchup against both of these because I can Terra Blast. So the main thing that really cost us this game was Arcanine being slower than Dragonite. If Arcanine was faster, I would have been able to just, you know, go for a Flare Blitz on a Dragonite. I don't think a Heavy Slam would KO us, and then I get, like, 1 or 2 Terra Blasts off, and I'm feeling pretty good. But in a 2v1 spot here, I just don't really think we can win. So, I am... We have Fiery Rat, so I'm not going to give up here. Oh, but they're also faster Galarian Moltres with Snarl, so that's basically the worst combination possible for us. It does activate Berserk again, though, which is funny. But I'm going to Fiery Wrath here, and it just does not do that much into Iron Hands. It's interesting they opted for Drain Punch there instead of Wild Charge. Wild Charge would have just won the game there, but yeah, I think they should still win this because we just don't do enough damage to AV hands. So how would I play this match differently? Like, Dragonite with Iron Head just caused so many problems, way more than I anticipated. Yeah, and they just Snarl again. I think I could have gone, like I said, into Grimmsnarl to Parting Shot. It was like them having Howl as well, which allowed them to actually increase their damage output, right? So, and unfortunately, no flinches from any of those. I mean, I'm also wondering, like, their Galarian Moltres, what moves did you have? Because you could have just gone for, like, an Air Slash, but maybe they... I mean, Snarl can miss as well, so, yeah. But I guess by snarling, you ensure that the Iron Hands at least doesn't feign to the Air Slash. So, yeah, I guess Steel Terra Dragonite with Iron Head and Howl Arcanine is a pretty sick combination. I think Milotic as a lead would have absolutely demolished. Like, their 4 was really weak to Milotic. So, if I were playing a best of 3, an adjustment I'd consider is leading Milotic immediately. I didn't feel great about it given the matchup because they had Empoleon and Ogerpon, so they made a really great call in Team Preview to say, hey, I don't think you're going to bring Milotic. I am going to lean heavily into Dragonite plus Arcanine. I think if Milotic gets led there, it just like takes control of the game because it gets a competitive boost and then it can Icy Wind as well, right? And so the speed control is really good. But yeah, I think it was hard for me to feel comfortable bringing Milotic in a best of 1 because they had Ogerpon and Empoleon, and if they bring both of those over, say, Iron Hands plus the Galarian Moltres, then it feels actually really bad to have brought Milotic. So, yeah, I think ultimately one thing to consider is with Grimmsnarl and Hisuian Arcanine, neither of those Pokemon can protect, so my opponent put themselves in a really good spot where Steel Terra Iron Head was actually had me pinned, but Steel Terra Iron Head is not that common on Dragonite. Like, most of the time you're going to see normal Terra, so, you know, losing to something like that, it's unexpected, and I think, like I said, a clear adjustment could have been bringing Grimmsnarl out instead of Hisuian Arcanine, and then going for Parting Shot onto the Grimmsnarl slot, or onto the Dragonite slot while nasty plotting. I think my fear there is that they just go for Stomping Tantrum onto the Grimmsnarl, but at that point, I had not revealed that I had Hisuian Arcanine in the back yet, so I feel like that'd be pretty unlikely, and then after the nasty plot, I can pivot Arcanine back out in a Grimm and then Fiery Wrath. Alright, we've got a familiar friend here in Rotom Wash. Rillaboom, Grimmsnarl, Fluttermane, Heatran, Rotom, and Hisuian Goodra. So, Rotom Wash is definitely interesting. What do I want to lead with as well? This could just be a Munkidori plus Galarian Moltres lead. I think I probably should be bringing out Hisuian Arcanine because of its matchup into Flutter, Rillaboom, and say like Grimm. I would love to only let them get 1 screens up, so I'm actually thinking Munkidori plus the Hisuian Arcanine with Galarian Moltres in the back. I'm actually thinking Sinistcha as the 4th. Because Sinistcha can completely wall the Goodra. Which is nice, right? Like, being able to Rage Powder your body presses away is a huge deal. So, I like that. I think I could bring Grimmsnarl here, but the weakness of bringing Grimm is if they lead Rillaboom plus Fluttermane, because then you have a faster Fake Out. Well, I guess I could theoretically go Grimm plus Munkidori. I said faster Fake Out, but what I meant is they could just Fake Out into Grimmsnarl. If I led Munkidori, I would actually have the faster Fake Out. It's going to be Grimmsnarl Rotom Wash. Okay. Light Clay. AV. Okay. AV is interesting. You know what we could do here is, like... so basically the question I have is, how important is my Terra on Galarian Moltres? Because what I actually want to do is Fake Out into this, Terra Blast onto this turn 1. And then I could just Extreme Speed turn 2 to ideally finish off Grimmsnarl and prevent it from getting a single screen up. And with Sinistcha, I have a lot of healing capabilities, so even if you just Hydro Pump into either slot, I can just switch in Sinistcha and heal back up anyway, right? So once again, this is why I love leading Munkidori. Like, it's a big deal to see AV rather than something like a Citrus Berry, Life Orb, or Choice Specs, for example. Because I think one set I would have actually been concerned about, given the Grimmsnarl, is something like a Nasty Plot Rotom. We saw Nasty Plot Rotom a good amount throughout Sword and Shield VGC. With Dynamax, it was especially powerful because you would get a Nasty Plot off and then just go for Max Geyser, for example. But I think Assault Vest here is actually not as scary because you're not going to deal as much damage, which is a really big deal. So, yeah, my goal here ideally is to just deny screens outright. So, Fake Out Terra Blast into Extreme Speed, I hope would be just a knockout here. Perfect. They just Volt Switch. Okay, great. I think the main thing is if my opponent wanted to, they could theoretically Terra Grimmsnarl into Ghost just to get one screen up. Which seems kind of wild. But yeah, the best tool against Grimmsnarl is Fake Out plus dealing a lot of damage into it. Ideally getting a KO, but this team doesn't have that much immediate offense because it indexes heavily on Galarian Moltres, so yeah. But like I said, like confirming the Assault Vest there meant that I could make this play really safely on turn 1 without too much worry. Goodra comes out, which is perfect because we know that we've got the Sinistcha plus the Galarian Moltres in the back. So they're going to Shelter here. They could Heavy Slam, actually, theoretically. So I don't mind going for Parting Shot here to reduce Heavy Slam damage and then just Extreme Speed to KO the Grimmsnarl. I actually think if there was ever a room to Ghost Terra here, it actually would be this turn, but they're not going to go for it. So, perfect. We knocked out Grimmsnarl without it getting up screens at all, which is exactly our goal in this game. Parting Shot here would just reduce Heavy Slam damage if you were to Heavy Slam into the Hisuian Arcanine, and now I get the Galarian Moltres in safely. So the idea is with Galarian Moltres, Sinistcha's Rage Powder will protect it, right? Which is a really big deal. Yep, so they're Shelter. Cool, I'll take that turn. I think it becomes interesting, though. So, like, you can bring Rotom Wash back out right now. And the end game I need to play towards is Sinistcha just Rage Powdering to protect the Moltres. Oh, interesting. They actually pivot Heatran in here, though. Okay. So, free Nasty Plot now. Weird spot for Arcanine to be in, I think. You don't really want to switch out into either of these, quite frankly. So I think I'm happy to just Nasty Plot here and Rock Slide. I'll take the flinch chance. Like, Arcanine did what it needed to do in just knocking out the Grimmsnarl and denying screens from being set up. So I'll take some free damage with Rock Slide and fish for flinches. More importantly, it's about Galarian Moltres just setting up right now. Yep, they go for Flash Cannon here. We survive. And they Shelter again, that's fine. And it's leftovers Heatran. Okay, cool. It's good to confirm that. I am happy to just Nasty Plot again and Rock Slide again. Because basically, I am playing towards the end game where you knock out the Arcanine, I bring out Sinistcha, and then Sinistcha just protects the Galarian Moltres. So as long as Moltres doesn't faint this turn, I feel like I should be in a very commanding position. Okay, out for Heat Wave here. Okay. Arcanine faints. I expect to survive Body Press here, but let's see. Maybe it was actually worth considering Fire Wrath, because the odds of flinching with Rock Slide and Fire Wrath are pretty darn good. That was way too close for comfort. Oh my goodness, 4 HP. I figured I would survive there, but that was closer than I would have liked. But basically, it's like if I get a single flinch off with Rock Slide there, they don't get that much damage, right? So it's like a lot had to go right for my opponent, but now it's the perfect spot because we just bring out Sinistcha. The one thing that helps my opponent right now is a defensive Terra with the... I don't even know if you KO me with Heat Wave, though, honestly. So, like, what I want to do is just Fiery Wrath now, and then just Rage Powder. What helps my opponent is Heatran goes for a Fairy Terra, survives the Fiery Wrath, obviously, and then Heat Waves. But no Terra here, which should put us into really good shape. So much of this team hinges on Galarian Moltres, though, right? So, yep, we get the knockout onto Heatran cleanly, and Goodra now is just redirected. It's going to be Citrus Berry. Yep. That's fine. Okay, and they go for Life Dew, so nice play there. But I don't really mind that, because how are you going to deal damage at this point in the game with the Goodra, right? And Rotom comes back out, but it's like you just go for Rage Powder plus the Fiery Wrath, right? This combo just works out perfectly for us. And my opponent recognizes that. Yep. So I think like the key turn in this battle was just the double up turn onto the Moltres slot. Because they were leftovers on Heatran, I figured Heat Wave plus Body Press would not get the knockout. It was closer than Comfort though, right? But like the way I was playing that game was like, I don't think you're going to get the knockout. You would need to attack through 4 consecutive Rock Slides in order to get the combo of Shelter plus Flash Cannon, Shelter plus Heat Wave off. And so I guess the flinch on Flash Cannon doesn't really make that much of a difference, but a flinch on the Goodra, either on the Shelter turn or on the Body Press turn or Heatran, would have been huge. I could have considered, honestly, just going for Fire Wrath, like I said a little bit earlier, but Sinistcha was so important in this game because it basically secured us the end game, protecting Galarian Moltres with Sinistcha support. Okay, we've got Hands, Landorus, Urshifu, Bundle, Rillaboom, and Heatran here. Feels like a good Munkidori game. I think I need Sinistcha because of Urshifu. Milotic is interesting here for speed control. Oof, all of our mons are pretty decent. Munkidori lead. I mean, what if I just went with Munkidori, Galarian Moltres? I think Hands is probably the problem there. Munkidori, Moltres, Sinistcha. Is Arcanine the right 4th? Thinking Milotic. I think you could always make a good argument for Arcanine, but as someone who wants to use Milotic more, I'm going to try it out here. But I think Arcanine is a pretty decent bring because you've got Intimidate into Landorus, Hands, plus Rillaboom, and has a really good Rillaboom matchup specifically. But I think Milotic is interesting here, right? Because there is a chance that, for example, we position it and then they bring out Landorus to activate Defiant or Competitive, which would be amazing for Milo. So let's see. I also think Munkidori's damage output is actually amazing here. And being able to scout for Scarf. Ooh, it's Stark Urshifu. Okay. That's also good to know. Leftovers, Heatran, Sash. Okay. So Fake Out Nasty Plot here is pretty safe. I think I would just Fake Out the Heatran here, honestly. And Nasty Plot. I'd love to see a Protect from Urshifu to, like, try to conserve their Sash. Because, like, one thing you'd have to worry about is, like, Fake Out Air Slash. But if they let me get this Nasty Plot off, it's amazing. Fake Out Air Slash, by the way, worth considering in this spot. Oh, this is so good for us. Free Nasty Plot. Nice, nice. It's... Oh, Bundle coming out is interesting because that can Encore us. I think, given that, the play I want to make is I want to respect Encore. And if they don't Encore me this next turn, then I don't think they have it. But we should assume they have it. So if we think they have Encore, basically what I can do here is Parting Shot into Bundle and then Protect. I could also Psychic or Sludge Bomb. I'm just not sure if it gets a one-hit knockout on the Bundle. I don't want to assume it does, because that would be really bad. So essentially, Parting Shot, go out into Sinistcha, and then with Sinistcha out, I can Rage Powder and just start clicking Fiery Wrath. There's a Terra here, so I'm thinking Fairy Terra Heatran, which is interesting because then it opens weakness to Sludge Bomb. Yeah. So I'm really hoping they try to Encore us right now. Whoa. Protect, though. Okay, that makes me think you don't have Encore. Not the most ideal turn, though. And they just Heat Wave. Okay, it could be worse. This turn is interesting. Do you click Icy Wind and then Heat Wave again? Because I want to switch out into Milotic right now and Fiery Wrath. If they actually have Encore, that was such a big brain play by them. And kudos. Because I think, yeah, that was a really good spot to just click Encore there. And I thought my play covered for it decently well. But now if they actually have it, I will be shook. I think this... I don't want to call the game and say, like, this turn alone decides the game. But I think whoever comes out of this turn with a big advantage is going to be so far up in the game. Because if they have Encore, Moltres just spent so much time setting up for nothing. And if they don't have Encore, we probably knock out Bundle and have gotten their Terra out. I guess they could Terra Blast me here, so I maybe needed to Terra my Milotic. Or sorry, my Moltres. Would you have Terra Blast here, though, is the question? They just went for Freeze Dry, so it's probably just Freeze Dry Icy Wind, Hydro Pump, Protect, which is fine. Okay, we get Fiery Wrath off here, faster than Heatran. Knocks out Bundle, good. That faints. Do you have Terra Blast? Nope, just Flash Cannon. Okay, good. Cool. So Berserk activates again. Okay, so I'm very happy about how things have played out so far. This is an opportunity to bring out your Urshifu right now, which does indeed come out. With Urshifu out, I can pivot into Sinistcha, which would heal this up. And I would think Close Combat doesn't KO anymore from that point on. I could also Poison Terra just to survive a Close Combat. This is a tough turn. I'm gonna Icy Wind, Terra, Air Slash. With the expectation they click Close Combat. But this is risky because maybe they actually just clicked Wicked Blow into Galarian Moltres. But I think this trade is worth it if I knock out the Urshifu, which is why I'm going to go for it. I guess they could just Protect Urshifu here. Yep, Close Combat. Okay, nice. That's still KOs, though. Oh, I thought I'd survive that for sure. Wow. Okay, not worth it then. Would have been better to just give that up. Still fine. I think I can still definitely win the game from this spot, which is why I was willing to make a play like that. But yeah, my damage calc was just a little bit off there, honestly. Okay. And they just went for Heat Wave, which is fine. Yeah, like... I think there, I should have just conserved my Terra and saved it for Munkidori instead and go for Poison Terra Sludge Bombs in this end game. So I'll bring in Munkidori right now. Okay. So this turn is interesting. I think if you're my opponent, you should just protect with both of your Pokemon, but that allows me to bring in Sinistcha for free. Like, the main problem is the Sucker Punch pressure from this right now, right? Which I think is pretty scary. Wow, I really didn't think CC would KO there. Wondering what the calc is. I want to do that after this game. Yeah, I mean, I could just fake out Hydro here, but I think they just double protect. Oh, is Urshifu not protecting? Okay. Well, if Hydro doesn't miss, I think this just KOs. So 88% chance to hit. Nice. You're at -1 special defense. Sweet. Let's go, Milotic. Nice. That's huge. Because now you can't have Sucker Punch pressure onto Munkidori, and I have Sludge Bomb pressure onto Heatran. And we have a pretty good matchup against, well, like, the majority of Pokemon they might have in the back. Landorus would activate competitive, and I think Milo just takes over the game. And it is Landorus. This is why we brought Milotic, folks. Nice. That is the absolute best final wand to see. Okay. So, with this, I think we have a pretty clear win condition. I'm just going to Icy Wind, and I'm actually willing to pivot Munkidori out into Sinistcha. I don't care if Sinistcha faints. It's not really useful for me at this point in the game. The Munkidori is way more important because it offers Fake Out plus Sludge Bomb pressure. But I'm switching out right now because I want to respect the option of Choice Scarf Landorus, so I wouldn't be surprised if they Stomping Tantrum into that slot, as you see. Yep. So eat up Rocky Helmet as well. I wonder if Icy Wind just gets the KO here, honestly. It does. Nice. And now we can just Hydro Pump. Milotic is such a good wall against the Heatran here. So they Earth Power. That might activate competitive as well. No competitive boost, unfortunately, but that would have been fun to see. Cool. So now it's just a waiting room to go back into the Munkidori. So I am happy to just click Hydro Pump here and gotcha. Yeah, and they realize there's not much they can do. But one of the nice things is by baiting out that Fairy Terra meant that Munkidori could actually Sludge Bomb that slot for super effective damage. So I think ultimately in this game, Moltres had a good lead. We got a free Nasty Plot off, which was great. And even though I had wasted my Terra, my Milotic was amazing because we eliminated Bundle early and they didn't bring Rillaboom into the matchup. So Milo's matchup into the combination of Landorus plus Heatran, which committed Terra, plus Urshifu was fantastic. And I think the lack of Protect/Detect on Urshifu that turn where I just got the Hydro Pump knockout really punished my opponent. Because if you at least Protect there, then the next turn I have to play the mind game of, oh, maybe you Sucker Punch into Munkidori, so Munkidori should switch out. Although I guess with Sucker Punch, I could just Parting Shot there. So with Parting Shot, I actually think we were probably in good shape anyway. Because, like, even if you double Protect, then the next turn I just Parting Shot into the Heatran slot, Hydro Pump into Urshifu. And with their last one being Landorus, like, Milotic was so well positioned. So that was a game in which I think Milotic very much carried us in the end game. So I had to do the damage calc of close combat into Galarian Moltres because, like I said, I figured we'd survive. And if it is Jolly Urshifu, we actually only get knocked out 1/8 of the time. We had exactly 66 HP, and only in 2 of the 16 damage rolls do they get the knockout with that. That's with Jolly Urshifu, though, so obviously if you switch to Admin, then the odds of close combat knocking out are a lot higher. It becomes 68.8% chance of the time, where we only survive in 5 of the 16 rolls here, as you can see. So it's a question of whether or not it was Jolly or Admin, but point being, you can see regardless of the nature, we definitely had a chance to survive. The question is whether or not it was a small chance or a much larger chance, depending on Jolly versus Admin. So a calc like this also goes to show the difference between using Jolly and Admin, right? But seeing this makes me feel a little bit better. Like, we won the game even with my Terra having been wasted. I think the main regret would have been if I ended up committing my Terra. My opponent's last Pokemon was Rillaboom instead, because then a Grass Terra Milotic I think would have been really interesting. That being said, Grass Terra Milotic would also open us to weaknesses against the Heatran. So in my head, basically, I figured, well, if I survive this turn and they do go for close combat, we get the knockout, I should just win the game because it blows the game wide open and the numbers advantage is just too huge. Another thing to think about is that I had Munkidori in the end game, and so if they had Rillaboom in the back, I would have been able to Sludge Bomb both Rillaboom and the Heatran. But I think another thing to consider is if Rillaboom were their last one, I could have gone for like Poison Terra, for example, on Munkidori to secure the knockouts with Sludge Bomb. So yeah, either way though, I wanted to do the calc because I was curious, and yeah, if it, turns out that me thinking we would survive there wasn't an unreasonable expectation. But it's always good to do these calcs, especially after games when you're caught off guard, because it's just helpful to remember exactly how much damage you think your opponent will do in the future. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me. A huge thank you to Ryota for building and sharing this team, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the showcase of unique Pokemon like Milotic, Galarian Moltres, and of course Munkidori, which had a very solid performance throughout this episode. So if you enjoyed, would really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing, and I'll see you all soon. Alright, peace.